Hey everybody, my name is McCall, and I want to know what your date was. Coming to you live from my home in Austin, Texas. We're about to have casual conversations. This first episode is going to be about your date. I want to know when you were diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So I was diagnosed 21 years ago, May 22nd, 1998. I was young, I was living life, I was getting ready for Memorial Weekend, woo, party on the river. And then I started getting this burning sensation, like someone stuck a torch on my thigh, and oh my gosh, the pain, the heat was so intense. And then I'd get super dizzy and I would have to sit down. And I remember telling my coworkers and my boss, and they were like, we need you to go home. We need you to go home for 2 weeks until you get that neurology appointment. So I got the neurology appointment. I was at home for 2 weeks, and I went to the neurologist and walked in, and he was super sweet. He was very late to my appointment, which, by the way, I hate. I'm very respectful of people's time, so when you're late for an appointment, especially when you're not feeling well, it's just wrong. However, he was a neurologist, so I'm sure there was something else going on. I forgive you. He came in, he's like, honey, you can't say that these days. Honey, we're going to take a spinal tap. I am crying. I don't know what's going to happen. He and his nurse come in and they do a spinal tap on me right there in the office. And they're crunching me and crunching me and crunching me, trying to get fluid out, and they couldn't get any fluid out. Not enough, at least, to do anything with. So he says, why don't you get dressed, meet me in my office. At that point, I am in full-on panic mode, thinking, what the hell? I've got brain cancer. I'm about to drop dead. And I go inside his office, and he goes, let me just put your mind at rest. I don't think you have brain cancer. Whew. Jesus, great. So what's wrong with me? He said, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I want to admit you into the hospital for further testing. Why don't you call someone and they can walk you across the street? I'm like, whatever, the hospital is right across the street. I got this. So I walked myself across the street. I called my coworkers and I said, call my dad. Call my dad and let him know that I'm being admitted into the hospital. And so I check myself in, they take me in the back, and they're prepping me for all these tests. Keep in mind, I'm by myself, but I'm thinking I can handle all this. So I'm in this prepping room, and next thing I know, my entire team walks in and takes over. And they're prepping me, and the funniest part about this was there was a male nurse, and he's like, we're going to have to stick a, what is it? They go up through your, anyway, it doesn't matter. So they needed to go up through here, and then they're sticking this tube all the way up inside my brain. They're literally going in here, going up, and going into my brain. So they're like, so we need to prep you. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, we need to shave you. And I go, whoa, hold up. You can't do that. And he's like, but I have to. I said, no, I've got a wax appointment this evening that I am intending on making. Kelly Clarkson! And he goes, honey, I'll make sure it's beautiful down there. The entire team and myself just cracked up because that was pretty funny, right? So anyway, so they wheel me back, and I don't remember all the tests they did on me, quite frankly, but I remember waking up during one of those tests, and all the doctors were like, oh my God, what just happened? Give her some more medicine. And then I was out again. And then I woke up in my room, and my dad was there, and let me tell you what my dad does. my dad has a very deep, deep voice. And he's a sweet guy, but he's scary at the same time.
I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that.
And so he walks in, he looks at my team and goes, "You can leave now." And I didn't hear about this till a couple months later. And they were like, "Your dad scares me." That was just dad protecting his little girl. So anyway, skip to the end, really. The doctor walks in and he said, "I've canceled my plans for the weekend because I want to wait until I know exactly what's happened with you." So he said, "We're going to do one more test and it's going to be an MRI." Okay. So we go back and do the MRI and he comes back in and he goes, "You have multiple sclerosis. Do you know what it is?" And my immediate thought was Annette Funicello. That's the only thing I could think of. That's the only person I've ever known who's had MS before, right? She's in a wheelchair. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's the only thing you can think of because that's the only thing I knew about MS at that point. So I send my father to Barnes & Noble's to get every book he possibly can on MS. And by the way, don't do that. Stay off the internet and don't go to Barnes & Noble's to get books because it's just flat out scary and you don't know what's going to happen, right? So you're reading all these things, the potential of things that could happen, and it just freaks you out even more. So that is my advice. Don't do that. So we talk and he goes, "Do you have questions?" And I said, "I have two. Can I drink? And can I have children?" And at that point, children weren't even in my mind, right? I didn't want any kids at that point. But I didn't want something to take that away from me in case that is exactly what I wanted in the future. And it turns out I did because I have two beautiful children now. So anyway, friends, I want to know what your date is. I want to know how you handled it. I want to know what you did. So for everybody that's newly diagnosed or everyone that is a seasoned MSer such as myself, 21 years strong, thank you very much. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your story is. I want to know what your date was. I want to know how you've handled it. I want to know what you did. I want to know what you do. I want to know your tips, your tricks. I want to know all that stuff. Are you on medication? Are you not on medication? Tell me everything. Write them down in those comments. I'll respond. And if you like this video, like it, ring that bell for future videos, and subscribe. Let's make this a casual conversation. Thanks.